The following program, NORML Show Live, is intended for responsible adults only. We advocate for the repeal of marijuana prohibition for adults. We discuss the science, culture, and controversy about America's marijuana laws. We do not advocate or encourage any illegal activity and advise all listeners to learn their state and federal marijuana laws by visiting norml.org, NORML.org. Opinions and claims made by guests and advertisers of NORML Show Live are their own and do not necessarily reflect the philosophy and policies of NORML. Listener discretion is advised.
You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it, and it goes down smooth. Hey!
Spanning the continent to bring you the truth about cannabis and marijuana law reform.
I smoke pot and I like it a lot.
From the promise of legalization.
And I think we need to rethink and decriminalize our marijuana laws.
To the agony of prohibition.
One major responsibility is to encourage people to use less drugs.
The National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws presents NORML Show Live, Marijuana Nation. Now, here's your host, NORML's Outreach Coordinator, Radical Russ Belden.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is Thursday, April 15th, tax day 2010, but it's got to be 420 somewhere in the world. I'm your host, Radical Russ Belville. Join us for the next 60 minutes of news, talk, interviews, information, music, comedy, and more by, for, and about the cannabis community. We're coming to you live from the world-famous Cannabis Cafe. Let's hear you, Cannabis Cafe people! Oh, we're having a good time here. And joining me to my left, the maestro who's pushing all the buttons, Ganja John.
John, all the buttons.
You're tragically out of frame on the webcam shot, my man.
Well, sorry, my head's big. I can't help it. I'll fix it in a second.
Oh, we got such a great show coming up today. And also joining us from our virtual studio in beautiful Astoria, Oregon, my good friend and half sister, Cannabis Carrie.
Carrie, where are you?
Can you hear us, Carrie?
Guys, lay down in at night.
Ah, there you are, Carrie. We had to push another button.
Oh, well, hello, guys. I was just wondering if you ever leave the cafe, or maybe they have a little cot that you guys get to lay down at night.
Actually, Russ doesn't leave. I leave to go to dialysis, but I come back right at 4 in the morning when I'm done. So.
Yeah. We've been here all week. It's been a joy at the Cannabis Cafe. And if you want to know more about Oregon NORML's Cannabis Cafe, look up on the website, usacannabiscafe.org. And a lot of people are asking us when the Cannabis Cafe merchandise will be available for sale online. You can see John wearing the world-famous hoodie. This was the same type of hoodie that Doug Benson wore on stage here in Portland, as well as the cap. Got the Cannabis Cafe cap signed by Doug Benson. Really, really cool. I don't know. When is that stuff going online, you guys?
We're working on it as you speak.
As I speak, they're working on it. So you will be the first to know here at NORML Show Live just as soon as we know. Also, let me get to our lineup for the show today. We got a really exciting show because right after our hemp headlines, at 20 after the hour, a very special guest joining us by telephone, Daddy X from the Kottonmouth Kings will be joining us live on the phone, and also we'll be previewing a track, Party Monsters, from the new album that is dropping on 420, Long Live the Kings. I'm so excited to have Daddy X on the show. We're looking forward to that. And then after that interview, we go to our Southern California scene, what's happening in the world of the dispensaries down there in Hollywood with our good friend Tere Joyce. And then at the end of the show, we are going to Texas with Brad Ernst from Texas NORML. He's going to tell us about the Texas Cannabis Crusade that's taking place and to try to get some more support for changing that state's draconian marijuana laws. All sorts of interesting things going on here on NORML Show Live. If you'd like to know more about the show, you can send us an email at stash@norml.org. And if you miss a show or don't catch us live, you can always catch us on the replays, which play at 3, 5, 7, and 9 p.m. Pacific Time, as well as available on demand for download from our Stash blog at stash.norml.org. It's the NORML Daily Audio Stash. Also available as an iPod subscription. iTunes, go out there and get it. NORML Daily Audio Stash, the podcast of NORML Show Live. You can also follow me on Twitter at Radical Russ. I'm going to be going on the road for the next few days, so going to be very busy. If you want to know where and when, just get me on Twitter at Radical Russ. We'll be right back after these messages, and stay tuned for your headlines coming up next.
You're listening to NORML Show Live, the voice of the marijuana nation.
Hello, I'm Paul Stanford from the Hemp and Cannabis Foundation, or THCF. Medical marijuana is legal in 14 states today, and THCF has clinics in 10 of those states. Our doctors help qualified patients obtain an authorization for medical marijuana in their state. Patients are eligible for medical marijuana with a history of either severe chronic pain and or nausea, cancer, AIDS or HIV, hepatitis, glaucoma, seizure disorders like epilepsy, chronic muscle spasms such as multiple sclerosis or asthma, neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's, and gastrointestinal disorders like IBS or Crohn's disease. If you or someone you know has one of these conditions, our doctors will help you obtain a permit for medical marijuana. THCF Clinics has offices in Washington State, Oregon, California, Colorado, Hawaii, Nevada, Michigan, New Mexico, and Rhode Island. Call 1-800-723-0188 or go to the web at hemp.org or call 1-800-723-0188.
Medical marijuana, industrial hemp, consumer cannabis. It's time for this week's NORML News with Cannabis Carrie.
The Associated Press last month reported that inmates convicted of violent crimes were those that were being freed early from California jails to save money, even though lawmakers promised that the early release programs would exclude dangerous prisoners and sex offenders. Similar programs were initiated or expanded in other states to help close budget gaps. Prompted by the report, Aaron Houston, the Director of Government Relations for the Marijuana Policy Project, testified before the U.S. House of Representatives Appropriations Subcommittee on Commerce, Justice, Science, and Related Agencies yesterday, and asked the subcommittee to urge the Department of Justice to encourage states that furlough prisoners because of budget crunches to certify that no inmates convicted of crimes of violence, including sexual abuse and assault, will be released before nonviolent offenders whose sole offense relates to the possession, sale, or manufacture of marijuana. He asked the subcommittee to urge the Department of Justice to consider conditioning grant awards to states and municipal correctional systems on their certification that no inmates convicted of crimes of violence will have been furloughed before nonviolent marijuana offenders. He would like to see a prioritizing of the release of people whose only crime is a marijuana-related offense. Sounds like a good idea to me.
Wow. That we even have to consider this, that it's happening is just remarkable to me, that we'd even think about letting go someone who's committed a violent or sexually predatory offense before letting go someone who's just a marijuana consumer or a marijuana grower. That's just absurd to me, and I'm sure it's absurd to a lot of you folks listening as well. But you got to understand, in a lot of cases, the government's hands are tied as far as who they can release. You see, these violent offenders oftentimes have the ability to get early release for good behavior, parole, probation, these sorts of things, whereas the person who's convicted of a so-called drug offense gets these mandatory minimum sentences without the possibility of parole, and that kind of ties their hands as far as who they can let go. So it's not just, something where we need to talk to the people in charge of the prisons and who are they letting go, but we've got to get in touch with our lawmakers to change the laws on how we sentence people for marijuana in the first place, which of course shouldn't be anything at all.
Okay, a custody case involving the U.S. and Canada is on the verge of becoming an international incident, according to the Calgary Sun. Canadian cannabis activist Lisa Kirkman has spent the last 2 years trying to regain custody of her 12-year-old son, Noah, who suffers from severe mental health issues. The case began in 2008 when Noah and his sister were on a vacation in Oregon and staying with their stepdad. Police in Oak Ridge, Oregon stopped the then 10-year-old boy because he was riding his bike without a helmet. The straight-A student suffers from severe attention deficit disorder and struggled to explain to the police who he was or why he was in the small Oregon town. This raised red flags with the police, who ran the boy's name through the system, and they discovered he had a past history with Canadian Social Services, the result of his mom seeking help for her son's special needs. The police decided that the stepdad didn't constitute a legal guardian, and that, coupled with what the authorities believed to be a suspicious background, Oregon authorities then placed Noah in temporary foster care. Now, this simple misunderstanding led to a red tape nightmare for the Calgary family, desperate to get their son back, and could ultimately lead to his permanent adoption in the U.S. Noah Kirkman has had to endure a series of foster homes during the last 2 years in our country. Lisa Kirkman is an outspoken marijuana activist and pro-cannabis journalist in Calgary who was busted years ago for growing medical marijuana without a permit. As a result of her activities, the Oregon Family Court ruled against her as an unfit parent and forced her to undergo psychiatric evaluations and parenting tests before Oregon officials would consider returning her son. In addition, the Oregon courts have demanded that Lisa have no involvement with drugs before Noah can go home. His Calgary grandparents have stepped forward offering to care for Noah until the U.S. courts clear her for reuniting her with her child, just so they can get the boy back on in his home soil in Canada. So far, the grandparents, both working professionals, have undergone a complete assessment of their home and their ability to care for the child to prove to the state of Oregon that the Canadian child is headed to a safe place. But so far, the process has been painfully slow. Now, last Friday, there was a little bit movement on the case. An Oregon judge said that the child wouldn't be allowed to go back to Canada at least until the American school year is over. Kirkman said she will never give up fighting, but it's getting harder and harder to become optimistic. She told the Calgary Sun on Friday that after the judge's ruling, what they are doing is torturing my family, leading us on, and later telling us, quote, eventually we're going to send them back, maybe. I just feel disgusted. It's extremely tiring, and it has taken up our lives, our family lives, for these past few years. Canadian MP Rob Anders is considering intervening in the case, and he has said he may travel to Oregon and try to bring the boy home to his family himself. His involvement as a sitting member of the ruling Canadian federal government is a huge development in this case that has dragged on without any public attention for the last 2 years. Russ, it is time to send Noah Kirkman home to his family, and we will definitely keep you updated on this unbelievable case.
Well, yeah, it's an obscene case is what it is, that we'd keep a mother away from her son because of her advocacy for marijuana law reform. You know, I remember talking to a cop one time. I don't remember if it was at Hemp Fest or Hemp Stock, but one of our events, one of the police that were guarding the event, and we were talking about law reform, and he kind of said, you know, I really wish you guys would just legalize it. I really wish you'd just legalize it so we could concentrate on more important things. Yeah. Hey, you know what? We'd love to legalize it. The problem is you guys hold our driver's license against us, our child custody against us, our housing against us, our student loans against us. You make it impossible to come out and fight for changing marijuana laws. Yeah, it's really easy for you to say, you know, you should just legalize it when we're risking our families, we're risking our jobs just to be honest about who we are and to be honest about the need to change these insane prohibitionist laws. And I know, Carrie, this is something that's it's got to strike home for you because you do a lot of this foster work up there in the North Coast, don't you?
Yeah, for a few years I've actually sat on a board that reviews all of the child foster care cases in Clatsop County where I live in Oregon. And I will tell you, it's a difficult system, and their hands are tied to a certain degree as well. The law requires when children are taken into custody, they're actually wards of the court now. The Oregon is considered their legal guardian, and there are all kinds of rules and regulations, steps that have to be taken before those children are returned home. And unfortunately, with this going across international borders, it makes it that much more difficult. The court will often give rules to the parents on how they can get the kids back. Like, here's all the hoops you have to pass. You know, Lisa had to go through parenting classes and a psychiatric evaluation. They do that because of a few cases a few years ago when a child was returned to their parents prematurely and was murdered in a few days. So these social workers it's bureaucratic red tape, and in a case like this, it just seems cut and dry. He's got a loving family at home. 2 years this child has had to suffer away from his parents with mental disorders. It's sickening, Russ. It's absolutely sickening.
Well, and it's, you know, the tragic irony of the whole situation is you've got the ward of the child is the state of Oregon, a state that recognizes the medical use of marijuana, from a woman from Canada who was growing medical marijuana in a country that recognizes the medical use of marijuana, but all for the lack of some paperwork. They think they got to keep the kid away from her for 2 years and subject her to psychiatric evaluations. We'll keep our eye on this case.
Yeah, that's pretty standard, Russ. That's pretty standard.
Thanks, Carrie.
All right, a few quick updates. We'll see how many we can get through. John Ray Wilson, the New Jersey man who says he grew a few marijuana plants to treat his condition, will remain in jail while he appeals his conviction. State Superior Court Judge Robert Reed had barred any references to Mr. Wilson's multiple sclerosis during his trial for drug manufacturing and possessing, ruling that the personal use was not a defense. At the time, New Jersey had no law sanctioning the use of marijuana for medical purposes. He was sentenced to 5 years in prison, and Wilson cited Judge Reed's decision in his appeal and sought to remain free on bail while appealing, but Reed denied his motion last Friday. That poor guy just can't catch a break.
No kidding. You know, he's a multiple sclerosis patient. He's in the state of New Jersey, which now recognizes multiple sclerosis for medical marijuana, but of course he was caught before that. You'd think now that they have it legal in the state, they'd at least let him remain out on bail. I mean, it's not like he's going to be a flight risk or anything. How absurd. Let's get the next one.
A reality television personality on the A&E network, Billy the Exterminator, was arrested on Saturday after a routine traffic stop turned into a marijuana bust. The show chronicles the adventures of bug exterminators. Ricky Lee Brethington was one of the bug fighters on the show, was pulled over in Louisiana, and police officers found marijuana in his car. He and a female passenger were both arrested, and he was charged with felony drug possession, felony drug paraphernalia possession, and a traffic violation. He paid over $4,000 to get out, and he's out on his own recognizance. We'll see if they cover it on the show.
I think you lost me on the whole bug exterminators part.
You know, it's just one of those crazy reality shows
there's
on
a reality
A&E.
show about bug exterminators, really?
You know,
yeah.
At dialysis, I'm privy to certain horrible television shows late at night, and that's one of the new ones in the last couple of weeks. And those guys look like they probably smoke a lot of weed.
I would think you have to.
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
The small California town of Dunsmore mayor is proposing to plant a medical marijuana grow in the middle of the historic downtown area. He wants a medical marijuana cooperative to run the garden with a high-tech greenhouse in what is now an empty lot. Mayor Peter Arth is a medical marijuana patient and says he's trying to bring the growing of medical cannabis out of the darkness of an underground market and into the legal light. Additionally, he wants collective members to know where their cannabis comes from and assure patients they aren't paying organized crime syndicates for their medicine. Last fall, members of the Siskiyou Marijuana Eradication Team pulled more than 200,000 plants in a single grow on the national forest land in the area, believed to be a hotbed of activity for Mexican drug trafficking organizations. Now, of course, there is some opposition to the plan, mainly over security. The town has a population of only 2,000, and it can't afford its own police force, so it contracts with the closest sheriff's office for about 20 hours of part-time patrols through the week. The town councilman said it would be like putting $50,000 in an empty lot with a wooden fence. Now, the proposal will go before the Planning Commission on May 5th.
I like the idea of small towns growing marijuana. I think that's a fantastic idea. I'm all for it. By the way, we're a little late coming through the chat, but I have to give props to Mr. Spoff for noting that the guys on A&E should be called the Roach Killers.
Definitely.
Very good, Mr. Spoff. Do we have any more updates, Carrie?
I just have one more quick one. We've had such short weeks and lots of news. I just want to let you know that the Senate Judiciary Committee of New Hampshire unfortunately voted 5-0 yesterday to not recommend a bill that proposes decriminalizing possession of a quarter ounce or less of marijuana. The bill will now go to the full Senate, where it's expected to be defeated. Matt Simon, director of the New Hampshire Coalition for Common Sense Marijuana Policy, says it's now clear that the bill will not become law this year, but it's also clear the discussion will continue. Judiciary Committee members said the governor's threatened veto of the bill made it dead on arrival. The bill was approved by the House in a 214-137 vote earlier this year. There will undoubtedly be more legislative attempts at cannabis law reform in the New England state. This summer, the New Hampshire legislature will study the tax benefits of legalizing marijuana, and another study that's awaiting approval would look at the influence of state and federal marijuana laws on New Hampshire residents.
Oh, okay. Well, bad news for New Hampshire, the Granite State, but we'll hope things turn out better. There is a point, though, that they aren't really going to get any sort of reforms past the Democratic governor, John Lynch, there. He's vetoed medical marijuana and other things before. So that's one of the unfortunate realities of politics and reminds us why we've got to get involved. You've got to register to vote, and you've got to vote in those primaries, right? A lot of times it's the primaries where these issues are decided. And, you know, if the cannabis community could all band together and start acting like the political force that we should be, a lot of these things could be changed. You know, there's 22.5 million Americans in this country who will use cannabis this year. That's a really large demographic. And if we voted like it, you know, these things would change a little bit faster. Remember that it's up to us. Like my friend Madeline Martinez says, put the joint down, step away from the bong, and get involved. Just for a little while. Feels good to smoke afterwards. Oh, and speaking for smoking afterwards, it's 20 after the hour. Our friends out there on the East Coast are celebrating 420. Let's join them here at the Cannabis Cafe. What do you say, guys?
It's 20 after the hour, and we have to take a short break, if you know what I mean. Please support these sponsors who support NORML Show Live.
Oh, have you ever met that funny?
Coming up right after the break, we got Daddy X from the Kottonmouth Kings and our daily toker tunes. Stick around. This is NORML Show Live.
If he said he swam to China, he would send you South Carolina. Then you know you're talking to that reefer man.
Law420.com. Hello, I'm Russ Belville, Outreach Coordinator for NORML. In my job, I read literally hundreds of headlines each month involving nonviolent, productive citizens whose lives are ripped apart by a marijuana or drug arrest. Many citizens could avoid arrest by refusing police searches and remaining silent, but police are well trained to confuse and intimidate. That's why you have a right to speak to an attorney before answering any police questions. I hope you never need to exercise that right, but if you do, make your first call to the law offices of John C. Lucy IV. John Lucy is an accomplished criminal defense attorney with expertise in Oregon's medical marijuana law. John Lucy understands and respects cannabis and drug consumers of all backgrounds. Call John C. Lucy IV at 503-227-6000 or visit in downtown Portland. Address available at law420.com. That's John C. Lucy IV at 503-227-6000 or visit law420.com today. And now, a message from former President George W. Bush to remind the American people of our responsibility in our nation's war on certain American citizens using non-pharmaceutical, non-alcoholic, tobacco-free drugs.
One major responsibility is to encourage people to use less drugs.
That's right, America, use less drugs. Put down the Prozac, the Vioxx, and the Levitra, and turn to the herb. Use less drugs. Our national policy is no longer just say no, it's now just slow down.
You get me too high. I overanalyze.
22 after the hour at NORML Show Live, reminding you tomorrow, Friday, there will be no live show. I'll be on the road. We'll tell you more about it in the Cannabis Community Calendar right after the tunes. It's time for your Daily Toker Tunes, the best in 420-friendly music from all genres that uplifts, entertains, and informs the public. Our pod-safe music is donated by freedom-loving musicians who support our goal of ending adult marijuana prohibition. Today we bring you tunes for Groovin' Thursday, our salute to all the dopest beats and killer rhymes that we find in the best of rap, hip-hop, soul, R&B, and funk. Brought to you by the John Doe Radio Show, accurate and informative marijuana reform news and entertainment. Available on the THC Media Network and JohnDoeRadio.com. If you'd like to submit your song to be played on NORML Show Live, send it to us at stash@norml.org. Now, here's some great independent marijuana music for today's Daily Toker Tunes. We are very excited to have our next guest here. A couple folks at the Cannabis Cafe are also excited. Looking forward to speaking to none other than Daddy X of the Kottonmouth Kings. X, how you doing, my man?
Fired up, my friends. Fired up.
Yeah, you're all ready for the 420 weekend. Where are you? Where are you at right now?
Hey, the countdown is on, man. 420 is days away. The party has already started. We're going big out here. I just got back from Arizona last night. I'm up here in California, just getting ready for our big listening party on Monday night because we have an album, Long Live the Kings, dropping on 420. The planets and stars have aligned.
Yeah.
Things are popping.
Long live the Kings. Glad to hear it. Where is the listening party happening?
We're doing a listening party at the Roxy on the Sunset Strip. And then, of course, the next day, the album's in stores. We'll be doing all kinds of press and stuff that day. And then we're doing our concerts on 420 weekend. The 23rd, we're out in Phoenix at the Marquee Theater with Big B and Head PE.
Oh, yeah.
And then on Saturday, the 24th, we're throwing the Freedom Festival in Las Vegas. We're shutting down Fremont Street, so we have like a street scene. It's all the Subnoise family, Kottonmouth Kings, Head PE, Unwritten Law, Big B. We're all going to be out there in Vegas on Saturday the 24th. It's called the Freedom Fest. Rock the block. It's like a street scene. Anybody, you can get out to Las Vegas that weekend, 420 weekend. Come celebrate with the Kottonmouth Kings and bring it in the style, please.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. Check out, it's Long Live the Kings as the album drops on 420. Of course, everybody knows KottonmouthKings.com. That's where you got to go to get the latest on the Kings. And speaking of the latest on the Kings, I was so excited because I'm calling you here from Portland, Oregon, and I've always been a big supporter of my homeboy, the Dirtball from Bend, Oregon. I've been loving his tunes since I first heard Moonshine Rhyme. I went back and got the old Reptilian albums and some of those back catalog stuff. And what was it that got the Dirtball in with the Kottonmouth Kings, man? Because I think that's a fantastic addition.
I appreciate that. I think it's a fantastic addition. Dirtball has been a label mate. You know, we run our own independent label, Suburban Noise Records. Dirtball's been on the label for years. He's toured with the Kottonmouth Kings. We've done shows, tours together and songs together. And he's such an amazing, talented lyricist. I think one of the most underrated in the game. I'll put Dirtball up against anybody as far as skills are concerned.
I mean, the guy raps in Swedish, for God's sake.
Speaks fluent Swedish. The whole rap in Swedish. He's amazing. And basically what happens, Kottonmouth Kings, we're getting ready to go into this record. I just felt like, that I just wanted to interject some new energy in the Kottonmouth Kings. I felt like people in the group were kind of maybe getting lazy or taking it for granted, or their heart wasn't as into it as it needed to be to make a great album.
Yeah.
So I brought in the Dirtball, asked him if he'd like to join the group, and he just brought this amazing energy to the group, and it feels like, we've just kind of reinvigorated the Kottonmouth Kings. I'm stoked on it.
I love it.
Feedback from the record so far has been amazing from people, and I think he's a great addition to the group, and it's a great time.
So you're on tour now with Head PE as well. Where are some of the places you're heading to within the next month or two, so people that want to see the Kings, they'll know where to go?
Well, actually, Kottonmouth Kings, we kick off our tour May 10th, and we're actually going out with the ICP, Insane Clown Posse, Coolio, Kitty, Kottonmouth Kings, and Necro.
Okay.
It's called the Happy Days Tour.
So these Head PE gigs are just
before that, we're doing some shows. Like I said, we're doing the 420 weekend, 23rd in Phoenix, Saturday 24th, Vegas, the Freedom Festival. Then on May 8th, for all you smokers that want to, as you know, in California, legalization is on the ballot in November. And across the country, I know Oregon has done such good things. Colorado, there's so many states leading the way for marijuana reform and to end this crazy prohibition that's going on. These are historic times we're living in. I encourage everybody to get out there, vote, spread the word, demonstrate, whatever you got to do. These are historic times we're living in. I never thought I'd see the day that the radical revolution of freedom is really coming right now. So it's an exciting time, let me tell you. I'm sure everyone in the industry feels the same thing. I'm sure all the citizens that have been harassed for years for smoker growing marijuana are feeling a little liberated, a little energized to get out there and make some changes for real.
Yeah, I think I have always thought of this as a civil rights movement, our right to consume the plants that are put upon this earth by whoever you think put them there. But and I've always thought that all the great movements had great music to go with them that kind of brings the community together and expresses, our feelings about the issue. And I think the Kottonmouth Kings have always been at the forefront of doing that. On this latest album coming out, this Long Live the Kings album, you guys, I've always noted that you've had a great variety of styles and genres on the album. Give people that are listening here at the cafe, we're going to play a track here in just a second, but an idea of the breadth of the album, how much you're covering, and what kind of styles people can expect.
Well, okay, backtracking real quick, I just want to comment on your comment that it's a civil rights issue, and I agree with you 100%. I think it's people's personal choice. I absolutely think it's a civil rights issue, and I think so I'm excited to see this happening right now. Of course, there's so many things that have added to it to come to, and so many people's hard work, so many people, NORML's done such a great job. And right now it's about, just organizing and spreading the right information, getting people involved, but as far as the new Kottonmouth King record, Long Live the Kings, a lot of it is some really banging hip-hop, and then there's a couple of real melodic songs. We have a song called Reefer Madness that I think is a great song as far as the movement is concerned. It's the hook is, all my friends are stoners, everyone I know gets high. Maybe there's a reason weed's not legalized. Maybe they're afraid. Maybe they're afraid of people with free thoughts and open minds. Maybe they're afraid of people living in peace and harmony. It goes on like that, but I think it's almost like a great anthem for this time that we're living in, because we're about to end all this prohibition and the reefer madness that goes with it. And we got a couple upbeat songs, a couple more punk style songs, a lot of banging hip hop, a couple melodic songs. It's a good, all around, well-rounded Kottonmouth King record.
All right. Well, we're going to hear a little of it right now. Daddy X from Kottonmouth Kings, thanks for joining us here on NORML Show Live. You're welcome back anytime you want to dial in, my man.
I appreciate it. Let's legalize it this year. End prohibition. Kottonmouth Kings. Long live the Kings. In stores 420. Peace, love, and respect to everybody across the nation.
Right on. This is Kottonmouth Kings featuring Tech 9 on this track from the album Long Live the Kings, dropping on 420. It's Party Monsters.
We are what you call self-made party monsters. So welcome to the bar. First of all, I'd like to welcome y'all to 13th annual Kottonmouth Ball. Round here, anything goes. Whippers, tippers, and trickety-hoes. Bass tones, right to your bones. SC jazz and fat barn low. Sun goes up and comes back down. We got a little bit of everything floating around.
Be the party monsters setting the bar. Dedicated to substance abuse. Take a whiff from my jaw. Yeah. That be the mix up a bunch of different ways to get down, cop a buzz and then spray. Flames from the liquor that I'm pounding every day. And right now I'm partied up on my way to the ball. So let's play. You take a shot, I take a shot. You take a shot, we take a shot. Hey.
We are party people. We are what you call self-made party monsters. Welcome all of y'all. We are party people. We are what you call self-made party monsters. So welcome to the bar.
Party monsters, a special guest has just arrived. Please direct your attention to the red carpet. Here comes none other than the most sinister monster of them all, Tech 9.
All the homegirls love me at Hooters, a straight Uber. MC searching for that cooter. They know my road, rude as a straight shooter. So we dipping if she packing a fat booter. Baby, all around the world I'll be hooting. At the same time, and cruising this right up off the ocean. I mean ocean. I threw back a couple of cold ones and I'm in motion. Party potion, then I'm poking. Takanina getting that loot, very roller. Haters see me and they tryna shoot their Ebola. Cause I got they women getting loose. Every hoe I get wet. Cause I make them say, ooh, areola. Hey.
We are party people. We are what you call self-made party monsters. Welcome all of y'all. We are party people. We are what you call self-made party monsters. Welcome to let's wreck this. You know we can in a P-town violence, y'all get rain. Let's wreck this. You know we can in a P-town violence, y'all get rain.
Hell yeah, money out. I said hell yeah. We could be the one to bring the party back in here. So let the bass drop and the temperature rise. Tequila on your brain is vibrating in your thighs. Kottonmouth Kings do the shit worldwide.
feeling. I'ma put it out there that I can party harder than y'all, bringing heat to the brawl. I'm a monster.
Now we are the people that's controlling the wheel, and we are the people that be making the deals. Yes, we are the people that be up in the hills, finding fields of mushrooms, psychedelic appeal. Now I'm Johnny Victor, I'm the king of the block. I got a 7-4 van and a 12-weight stock.
Right about now, let's show an extra special chunk of respect to the monster making all this debauchery possible, the host of the party, the extraordinary Daddy X.
Whacked in my brain, high on cocaine, popping more pills and drinking champagne, smoking mad weed, chewing on shrooms. I got a few issues that I need to work through. Nobody's perfect, we all got flaws. I love loose women and old school car, close down bars, sleep past noon. There's a killer on the loose and the beat goes boom, 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 boom.
You can find me blazed out with my homies, laid back up in the ride, all the bitches know me. Flex on them in the flash, we be cold clocking. 100-yard rap dash, we forever rocking. All out, all in, yeah, back at it again. Nobody fucking with the powers of the crown, the skin. Be tougher than Teflon, we fighting the wind. The levels are pressed on to make your head spin.
We are party people. We are what you call self-made party monsters. Welcome all of y'all. We are party people. We are what you call self-made party monsters. Welcome to the practice.
That's Party Monsters from the new album Long Live the Kings, dropping on 4/20. Get it out at kottonmouthkings.com or check our blog, stash.normal.org. We've got a link to it right there in the advertisements. Just click on the Kings and get the album.
But I don't care. It's 420 somewhere.
All right, it's time for NORML's Cannabis Community Calendar, which you can find at norml.org/calendar. First notes about the show: there will not be a live show tomorrow on Friday because I'll be on the road driving down to Grants Pass, Oregon, where I'll be a part of the Hemp is Earth Medicine Tour. This is a tour to support the Oregon Cannabis Tax Act. I'll get the poster right up here on the cam. You can see it here. So on Friday, April 16th, I'll be performing at the Rogue Theater along with Tim Pate and John Cornett and Kenny Davis, Cousin Kenny, will be performing at the Rogue Theater in Grants Pass, Oregon on Friday, April 16th, so there will be no live show here. On Saturday, April 17th at the Ashland Armory in Ashland, Oregon. Sunday, April 18th at the LaSalle Stewart Center in Corvallis, Oregon. Tuesday, 4/20 at the Lane County Fairgrounds in Eugene, Oregon. Friday, April 23rd at the Deschutes County Fairgrounds in Redmond, Oregon. And Saturday, April 24th, right here in beautiful Potland, Oregon at the Roseland Theater. Now, I'll only be there for the first two gigs, the Friday and the Saturday. On Sunday, I'll be at the International Cannabis and Hemp Expo in San Francisco at the Cal Palace. Be speaking at 2:30 and tabling along with Dale Geringer with California NORML. 420, of course, is happening. I'll be in Tacoma, Washington. On Monday, 4/19, there also won't be a live show because I'll be on the road driving back from San Francisco all the way to Tacoma, Washington. That's the kind of miles I put on the car to end marijuana prohibition. I'll be at the University of Washington in Tacoma giving a 90-minute presentation on the history of marijuana legalization efforts and what's happening now in marijuana legalization, plus a bit of my debunking of the reefer madness. So check all those events out. You can catch those as well on the Cannabis Community Calendar at norml.org/calendar. Now today, Thursday, April 15th, Tennessee NORML is having a tax day protest in Nashville, Tennessee. Check out tnnormal.org for more details. There is a support medical marijuana rally in Oshkosh, Wisconsin at the corner of Wisconsin and High Streets. Check that out at winormal.org. University of New Hampshire NORML will be having their meeting, as well as Philly NORML having their meeting on Thursday tonight, April 15th. Friday, April 16th, there is a District 41 State Assembly listening session with Representative Joan Ballwig. Contact Jay at winormal.org for more details. This is to discuss the Jackie Rickert Medical Marijuana Act. Their Wisconsin session only has a few days left, I think 7 days left, and there's just that much time to try to get them to pass medical marijuana in the dairy state. Tennessee NORML will be having their April public meeting on Friday, April 16th as well in Nashville, Tennessee. For more information, check check out tnnormal.org. They've got a medical marijuana bill now in Tennessee that they are championing. On Saturday, April 17th, Washington NORML is having an Eastern Washington meeting and Earth Day celebration, a downtown block party in Spokane, Washington at Brown and Main. Check out wanormal.org, wanormal.org, or sensiblewashington.org, the promoters of the legalization initiative for Washington State. For all of this and more information, again, check out our NORML Cannabis Community Calendar at norml.org/calendar.
Starfish Designs, makers of the original Gandalf.
I'm Radical Russ, and when I want to relax, I always have my 17-inch long original Gandalf from Starfish Designs nearby. The hand-blown borosilicate glass is strong and easy to clean, and the design is sleek and sophisticated. Starfish Designs are available from Bend, Oregon at a glass retailer near you. For locations, call 541-788-GLASS. That's 541-788-4527.
Have you considered medical marijuana? Double-blind, peer-reviewed studies have found cannabinoid therapies to be successful in treating the symptoms of Alzheimer's disease, ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease, brain cancers, chronic pain, diabetes mellitus, dystonia, fibromyalgia, GI disorders, hepatitis C, HIV/AIDS, hypertension, incontinence, MRSA, multiple sclerosis, osteoporosis, pruritus, rheumatoid arthritis, sleep apnea, and Tourette's syndrome, as well as anecdotal evidence suggesting relief from anxiety, depression, and post-traumatic stress, plus reduction in the need for narcotic painkillers. Side effects of medical marijuana can include euphoria, relaxation, anxiety, panic reactions, paranoia, tachycardia, dry eyes, dry mouth, concentration and reaction time impairment, appetite increase, and in 37 states, arrest and incarceration. But medical marijuana is non-toxic and cannot cause overdose. Medical marijuana. It's not for everyone, but ask your doctor if medical marijuana may be right for you.
Weed.
That's Hooey Valley, hooey-ha.
Weed.
Where any office boy or young mechanic.
Now it's time for a report from the epicenter of American cannabis culture with our Southern California correspondent. You know her from ComedyNation.com and her appearance as a finalist on Season 1 of NBC's Last Comic Standing. It's our friend, cannabis comedian and marijuana activist, the lovely and talented Tere Joyce.
Hey, Tere, we're calling you from the Cannabis Cafe today. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm doing really, really great. I'm having a cup of coffee, but probably not as good as your coffee over there.
Oh, yeah. So the cafe is a good place to be, great place to get things other than coffee. But enough about that. What's happening down there in your neck of the woods?
Oh, is it a marijuana cafe?
Yeah, it's the Cannabis Cafe up here, Oregon NORML's Cannabis Cafe for medical marijuana patients.
Oh my God! Oh, okay, now I get it. That's really even better than coffee.
Yeah, when you go up to the bar, there's a big old bar with, I don't know, how many vaporizers are back there, John?
We have about 4 back there, 2 running. Damn it! Feedback, sorry, but we got it taken care of. We have about 3 or 4 vaporizers running back there all the time.
Lately, though, the bar here has been delving into the world of hash oil, so it's been more of a hash oil celebration here, Tere.
Oh, I'm so jealous. I'm getting to my car right now. I'm coming over.
You can come up here anytime. I don't care if it takes
me 2 days.
Anytime, Tere. You're welcome here. We just had Doug Benson was just in town, as a matter of fact, and he visited the cafe. So we got to get your face on the comedy wall that we'll have built here at the cafe.
Oh, absolutely. Russ, I've actually looked at K2 for the first time.
Oh,
and
our local news.
I have to say, when I smelt it and looked at it, I believe that it belongs in my underwear drawer.
I'm sorry. You're talking about the K2 fake incense spice stuff, right?
Yeah, the garbage you can buy at porno stores up here.
Yeah, that is the weirdest stuff. I really, even my cat was hoping it was catnip and rejected it.
Well, when you live in Southern California or you live in Oregon like we do, and there's such access to good quality real stuff, why would you want anything fake?
This is true. I agree. Also, it just seems like the name K2. It's like the government designed it.
Yeah, really.
It's like Operation K2.
Operation K2. Well, Tere, it's always fun talking to you here in Southern California because you're right there in the middle of the scene where everybody's fighting for marijuana law reforms, and you always bring us the most interesting guests. So tell us who we've got today joining us.
Well, I do have a really interesting guest, and I really love to shine a light on women that are involved in the medical marijuana industry and surrounding it.
Oh, okay.
And there's quite a few young female entrepreneurs out there, and I wanted to introduce my guest, Kushed Out, to the show.
Kushed Out. Okay.
Hi.
Hi, Kushed Out. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for asking, Radical Rose.
Do we just call you Kushed
How's
for short?
everybody doing?
Do we just call you Kushed for short?
Yeah, it's Kushed Out.
Okay, Kushed Out.
It's actually Kushdtout, Kushed Out.
All right, so you're an entrepreneur working there in Southern California, but not in dispensaries, I understand. You've got products that you are marketing to the community.
Actually, I've been working in the cannabis industry at dispensaries for approximately the last 3 years, and I got a lot of knowledge in the industry from that. And, when I was 19, I started to draw cannabis, and now at 23, I'm pretty much making my clothing line a known entity because there's not really original artwork out there of cannabis on clothes, and I'm pretty much putting it out there as far as my fashion, so that's why I called it Kushed Out Fashion.
Do you find, being a young woman working in the cannabis community, I imagine you're going to a lot of the rallies and the expos and stuff like that, do you find any hurdles or roadblocks to becoming an entrepreneur in this industry, as a woman, or did you find the cannabis community to be open and welcoming of your designs?
Well, at first, I honestly thought it was a struggle because my family was opposed to it. They obviously wanted me to go to college and, for them to, quote unquote, get a real career. Uh-huh. And I just, went on with my dream of being a canna artist. That's what I call myself, a cannabis artist. And, I trademarked such things as entrepreneur because that's what I am. I consider myself an entrepreneur, and it's something that I'm very proud of. Things of the industry is also very welcoming to me because I am a woman and I'm young, and I'm pretty much setting off motivation to other young people my age as well to get out there and do something positive.
Well, how can our listeners...
I'd like to ask Kushed Out what actually drew her to wanting to become a part of the pot industry.
Yeah. Well, what drew me into becoming a pot star or being part of the pot industry was the fact that there wasn't anything out there, positive really, where it comes to attire. It's always the Bob Marley in the front smoking a doobie, and, we get it. We understand the shirt, we understand the whole statement being put out there, but I don't think that's what cannabis consumers need. I think that we need a sophisticated clothing line where we can wear out and not feel like we're being judged before people get to know us. And that's why I started Kushed Out Fashion, because I wanted to put original renderings of cannabis on clothes where it doesn't even look like cannabis unless you're a cannabis consumer, or people actually don't know it's cannabis even if they are cannabis consumers because they're so used to seeing just the pot leaves on shirts. They don't actually see nugs. They don't see what it really looks like before it's grown. And that's what I wanted to put out there. I wanted to put something out there that shows that shows the way that cannabis really grows, the beauty of it all. And it just set off inspiration for me to do that. And I'm really excited about this. I'm really excited for the movement and for everything that I want to set off to do.
Well, Kushed Out, I'd like to know here for our listeners, is there any way they can get a look at some of your designs?
Yeah, sure thing. If you go onto my Facebook, it's /Kushed Out Fashion, or it's my MySpace, www.myspace.com/KOF420, or you go onto the website, which is www.KOF420.com. And I'm doing something really, really phenomenal and great. Made my clothing line a nonprofit organization because I'm starting the first foundation for cannabis cancer patients. And 25% of all my proceeds are going to building this foundation for cannabis cancer patients.
Oh, that's very nice. Now, Kushed Out, have you always lived in California your whole life?
Yes, I'm native, born here in Los Angeles, and it's just a part of the whole culture. Being a cannabis consumer is so positive here and accepted. So I'm so happy about the opportunity that Los Angeles holds. It's just such a vivid community for cannabis awareness. So, I'm really happy about being a California native.
Yeah, well, that leads me to something that, you had mentioned yourself, that you're a young woman. I think you said 23, right?
Yes, I am. I'm 23 years old.
So that means when, Prop 215 was passing, you were, 9 years old?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've grown up.
No,
but this is cool.
I just turned 10 years old.
Yeah, and this is really cool because I've always wanted to get the perspective of young people who are now adults, right? Young adults who have grown up in California with cannabis being medically recognized. Because one of the things our opponents always said was, you have medical marijuana, it sends a bad message to the children. So when you were growing up in California as a young girl, did you get any bad message out of Prop 215, legalizing medical cannabis?
Well, I was, I guess you could say a little bit brainwashed when I was younger because I wasn't allowed to listen to music or, the hip hop. The only thing I could listen to was probably Tupac because that's all my brothers would listen to. Okay. And that was something accepted in my family. But as far as, Sublime, when they sang that song, Prop 215, I didn't even know anything about Sublime until I was in high school. And that's how, that's how negative it was for me and my family, that they weren't accepting to it, they weren't open to it. And as soon as I started working at the Cannabis Collective, my mother, she thought it was funny she actually thought it was funny that there is a place where you could go and get medicine. Yeah. And then I started educating her about, the facts and the benefits of cannabis as medicine, and she's so supportive now. And that's such an honor coming from a Hispanic family because Hispanics are so negative against marijuana. It's the worst drug you could do. Yeah. Honestly, yeah.
The statistics bear that out. When we look at the racial breakdown of people, racial and ethnic breakdown of people that have actually ever tried cannabis in their lives, white folks like me is 45%, and then African Americans are in the 30s or something like that. But among Hispanics in America, it's only 25% of Hispanics have ever tried, what we fraudulently called marijuana, right? It's kind of an ironic thing, don't you think?
Yeah.
So,
what's interesting about that is... Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go right ahead, Tere.
I'm interrupting here for a second. I just wanted to interject something on that fact. It's interesting that the Latino community is on a lower aspect of people using marijuana when history shows that it was the Mexicans also that brought in marijuana into California. And when they designed the cannabis tax, that was one of the reasons why they wanted to bring it in, because it was also part of racism in wanting to get rid of the Mexicans in California.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
Yeah, it's very true.
Well, we need to wrap things up here, Kushed Out. So I do want to give people a chance to check out your website, which is Kushed Out Fashions at Facebook, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's Kushed Out Fashions at Facebook, and my website is www.kof420. And one thing I want to put out there is that, we have to get cannabis on the ballot. We have to, get it on the national ballot, not just a state-to-state ballot, because this is something that's going to save the planet. It's all the commodities that could come out of cannabis and, as well as jobs and fuel and clothing and just so many different things that could happen from cannabis. And if we ourselves as, Americans are able to accept that it's a benefit and not a destructive factor, we'll be able to, come and get ourselves out of this deficit. Yes. And one more thing is that, I just understand how cannabis is, up there with, drugs such as cocaine with being Scheduled 1. I just don't think that's fair because cannabis is not cocaine. And I just think that people need to be educated because cannabis is safe.
Yes, you're absolutely right, Kushed. Thanks for joining us, and Tere, Joyce for bringing us our Southern California scene. We'll be right back after these messages.
NORML, unlike any other marijuana or drug law reform organization, is built from the ground up by grassroots activists who are peaceably assembling to petition our government for a redress of our grievances, specifically regarding our inalienable right to the pursuit of happiness through the use of cannabis for medical, social, and personal reasons. We are the Marijuana Smokers Lobby, and we aren't just anti-prohibition, we are pro-marijuana. Every Monday, we take some time to talk to the citizens in local NORML chapters across the country and around the world, as well as others who are working to make a difference in the fight to end adult marijuana prohibition in this segment we call Grassroots Activism.
All right, welcome back. 54 after the hour, running a little bit late here on NORML Show Live. We went long with Daddy X, but you know what? I'm going to go long with Daddy X anytime he comes on the show. We're going to get Brad Ernst from Texas NORML on the line here, if we can, to tell us about the upcoming Texas Cannabis Crusade. So that's coming up. We've got all sorts of information as well on our blog at stash.normal.org that I'd encourage you to check out. And for folks that want to get involved in the marijuana movement, I'm also NORML's National Outreach Coordinator. You can reach us at chapters@normal.org, or if you want to start your own chapter, send an email to start@normal.org, and that'll get you, a packet of information mailed back to you, a couple of files that'll tell you how to start your own NORML chapter and how to go from there in fighting to end adult marijuana prohibition. Also want to make a note of the 420 ad that we've got going up at Times Square in New York. We've got a version of this up on our NORML Stash blog at stash.normal.org, plus a picture of Danny Danko, Steve Bloom, Rick Cusick, and Chris Goldstein in front of our current Times Square ad on the beautiful big 20-foot by 26-foot Times Square billboard. The new ad is more locally focused to New York City, and it's about New York City pot busts. New York's a decrim state, but oddly enough, their pot busts have gone up from 1,000 in 1992 to 46,000 in 2009, and of course the majority of those busts being for black or Latino people. So that ad will be going up on 420 at the Times Square billboard, and as soon as we can get a picture of that, we'll have that up for you. You can check out the ad at stash.normal.org. All right, we're going to go to the phone lines now and our grassroots activism. We've got Brad Ernst from Texas NORML on the line, and Brad, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm so sorry we caught you while you were driving, but I hope you're able to pull over.
Yeah, I'm safe on the side of the road now.
Oh, thank goodness. Okay, well, we just have a few minutes here, and I definitely wanted you to get a chance to tell people about the Texas Cannabis Crusade.
All right, well, basically it's our third annual Texas Cannabis Crusade. So the people that maybe were kind of hiding in the woodwork in 2008 and 2009 when we were marching might feel a little more comfortable coming out because we sort of have built some rapport with the state board of preservation there that manages the Capitol building and everything. And so our numbers are definitely increasing exponentially every year. We're looking to have several thousand people flooding the streets of downtown. We get started about 10 a.m., and that's at Wooldridge Square Park, which is at 9th and Guadalupe. And then that starts off with a wake and bake breakfast. We do some sign making. We've got live music. And then Austin's Finest will escort us through the streets of downtown to the Capitol building, where we will have Chief Greenbud headlining. And we've got a total, I think we've got 11 or 12 bands playing all day long. There's an after party. And basically, it's an off year legislatively here in Texas. And so we're not pushing for any particular bills right now. We're basically just trying to promote the education of the public at large here on the facts surrounding cannabis and its prohibition in Texas.
Well, that's fantastic. Glad to hear that Chief Greenbud's headlining for you. We play his music all the time here at NORML Show Live. We love it. Now, with respect to what's going on in Texas, do you feel that you're getting some momentum finally in Texas? I mean, I did a story on Jeff Blackburn being able to get a patient off of charges who's suffering from HIV/AIDS on an affirmative defense. We've got Cliff Duvall down there in Waco who's doing great work, getting good media. Is there a sea change in Texans' feelings about marijuana reform?
I do see that in the people of Texas, of the fact that, like you said, Cliff Duvall and starting that up in Waco with a lot of good response and good things going. I think he was the High Times Freedom Fighter of the Month in this month's issue. Yeah. And it's just, you look at the back of that marijuana march poster that's floating around, and there's a lot more cities in Texas that are actually on that list that are holding marches. Oh. And so, from my personal perspective, I can't really say that anything legislatively has too much momentum as of right now. That's basically the point of this event, is because, there is no voter initiative in Texas. If we had 100,000 people sign a petition, we wouldn't necessarily be able to get it on the ballot. Yeah. So, and just last year when I offered testimony in congressional hearings.
Oh, we got to wrap things up here at Normal Show Live. I'm so sorry to have to cut you off. We're just out of time. But thanks for joining us, and check out TexasNORML.org. Thanks for joining us this week at the Cannabis Cafe. Check them out at usacannabiscafe.org. For Ganja John and Cannabis Carrie, I'm Radical Russ. We'll see you again on 420. And until next time, take care of each other, tokers.
This is Normal Show Live, the voice of the Marijuana Nation.
Take it on one more time. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it, and it goes down smooth.